sit back, grab some chips. Feliz Cinco de Mayo. Hola a todos, ¿qué pasa? Hoy es Cinco de Mayo. Today is Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. Es un día de celebración. It's a day of celebration, pero ¿por qué? But why? Sit back, grab some chips and salsa, and I'll tell you why. That's hot. That's really hot. Cinco de Mayo, narrated by me, Senor Valle. Now, before we start, Cinco de Mayo is not Mexico's Independence Day. Mexico's Independence Day is September 16th, 1810, when they got their independence from Spain. However, their happy times did not last, because after they got their independence, the Mexican-American War followed, and then that led to the Mexican Civil War. These two wars did not help Mexico's economy at all, and they were already in debt with Spain, France, and Britain. And the president at the time for Mexico, Benito Juarez, basically said, "We can't pay you back for a couple years." And obviously Spain, France, and Britain were not too happy about that. So they all came together and signed the treaty, the Convention of London, basically trying to get their money back. So Spain, France, and Britain, they didn't want to get involved in Mexico's government or try to take the land, because that was a treaty type thing that they signed. They just wanted to get their money back. But at the time in France, Napoleon had just taken power. Wait, that's the wrong Napoleon. His nephew, Napoleon III. Just like his uncle, Napoleon III also wanted to establish France as a global power, but he was nowhere near as smart as his uncle Napoleon I. Anyway, Spain, France, and Britain all sailed and landed in Veracruz, and they easily took that over. And at that time, their treaty was just to kind of push Mexico to give their money back. But at that time, France started sending in more and more troops, and Spain and Britain, they didn't really want that beef, so they were like, "I'm out, see you later." And France was like, "Don't mind if I do." And they wanted to take Mexico City. France tried to take Mexico City at the perfect time, because they knew they probably wouldn't be able to get backed by the United States, because the United States, they were going through their own civil war at the time. Abraham Lincoln did not want to back Mexico because he feared that if he did, France would side with the South and history would not be the same. So 6,000 French troops led by Charles de Lawrence, they started marching towards Mexico City. At the same time, a Mexican commanding general, Ignacio Zaragoza, also led a small Mexican army to meet the French, try to defend Mexico City. They originally lost the first battle to Charles de Lawrence and his troops, and they retreated. They lost another small battle and retreated again to Puebla. So Charles de Lawrence, he believed that the people of Puebla were friendly, and at the time, French was just such a superpower that he thought once he showed force, it would be an easy win. But he was wrong, and the Battle of Puebla was underway. So in Puebla, there were two forts, and again, De Lawrence thought he should just attack the two forts, and that's what he tried to do. But Mexican forces they held and caused the French to retreat. The French attacked again. They had to retreat again. So, third attempt, France got all their reserves, but they were also out of ammunition for their artillery. So, again, their third attempt was unsuccessful, and this time the Mexican army chased France back into a retreat, and they won the small battle of Puebla. It was truly like a David versus Goliath story, because the French army was superpower and outnumbered and outgunned the Mexican army. However, it didn't last too long because France actually came back and took over Mexico City, what they had planned to do. So with France taking over Mexico City, Napoleon III appointed the Habsburg Archduke Maximilian, that guy, as the Emperor of Mexico, and he kind of rigged an election in which he won in a landslide, so he thought that he would be welcomed in Mexico. I don't know what's funnier, the fact that he thought he would be welcomed in Mexico or the mustache bearded squirrel thing on his face. So when France took over Mexico City, the president of Mexico at the time, Benito Juarez, he fled to the Mexican-American border to keep the Mexican government intact, and his army actually eventually began to win some battles against the French. And on top of that, the Civil War in the United States was over, and the United States, they were not too happy that the French were in Mexico, and they didn't really like France that much, I guess. So they started threatening the French. So with Juarez's army winning some battles against France, the United States threatening France, and a possible war scenario back at their hometown in France, French decided to leave Mexico. And they did. Maximilian tried to stay and continue to fight, but it didn't end too well for him. And Benito Juarez declared that Cinco de Mayo, Battle of Puebla, the victory, or that day would become a celebration, and Cinco de Mayo was born.
So I hope you have a better understanding of what Cinco de Mayo is and why it's celebrated. Uh, that being said, Cinco de Mayo isn't celebrated too much in Mexico as much as it is in other countries, especially in the United States. So it's kind of like a celebration of the Spanish culture, which is kind of cool. So your assignment this week is to pick a Spanish speaking country, any one, and learn about it. Get some information on it, on the culture, the food, what kids your age do for fun, and things like that. Make it a minimum of 4 sentences and turn it into your Google Classrooms. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. I will see you next time. Stay safe, have fun, and adios, amigos.